It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, right now, I'm on the road with Pops, going to Plant City, Florida. There's a boxing card Friday night by Probox Promotions. You know, I did do a video about this earlier in the month, but I wanted to kind of give my expanded thoughts on this card as I'm going to it. I'm very, very excited about this card. So shout out to, look at that water right there. Look, you gotta love the state of Florida. But anyway, I wanted to give my thoughts on the card because it's a card that I'm very excited for, and I want to kind of spread awareness about the card to the viewers of my channel and the boxing world in general. So, February 25th, Friday night, we're gonna have Probox Promotions. Shout out to the fine folks at Probox Promotions, Chris Glover, my man Daniel, the matchmaker, him. You got Gary Jonas too as well. Paulie Malnaji, Tarver, Roy Jones doing commentating. Shout out to the whole Probox Promotions family, company for putting on the card. I think it's a pretty well-matched card. Now, the two fights I'm going to talk about, there's prospects on this card, but I really want to just camp out on the two main fights in the card. So we'll start with the first fight. It's a middleweight fight. You're going to have Kanat Islam taking on Jimmy Kelly. Now, the significance of this fight is that Kanat Islam is ranked number 8 in the WBO. He's a guy that has had some periods of inactivity in his career, but has a good amateur background. He was a bronze medalist for I think China in the Olympics. 22-0 as a pro, I believe. Very strong, very game, good boxing skills. But to be honest, Kanat Islam hasn't really boxed a ton of people at a high level. I would say, going through his resume, maybe the two best wins on his resume, or the best one on his resume, the name that sticks out to me would probably be his last fight, where he boxed former world title challenger Walter Kakadawa, who many of us may remember was the world title challenger on short notice for Demetrius Andrade when Billy Joe Saunders had tested positive for the Dobson. So Kakadawa is strong. Andrade didn't stop Kakadawa. Kanat Islam didn't stop Kakadawa. So what that tells me is that Kakadawa is durable, and he gets credit for that, and I'm sure he'll get more calls in the future. But yeah, Kanat Islam, I see this as a fight for him to get things going in the right direction, because Jimmy Kelly is bringing some credentials with him. Jimmy Kelly is a guy that has mixed it up with names that we know in the boxing world. Like he mixed it up with two former world title challengers, and in one case, a guy that I look at as a world champion. So he fought Liam Smith for the world title. He was actually Liam Smith's first title defense. Liam Smith absolutely folded him up like a blue steel chair and stopped him. The other fight he had was against Dennis Hogan, who I look at as a world champion because Dennis Hogan beat Chaim Munguia, but they took him and robbed him of his true place history. So, not bad fighters to be in the ring with, but he didn't get over the hump against them. Now, what I learned about Kelly just by researching his career and watching him a little bit is that he was very tall. He was a 6 foot 154 pounder. So he's of the mindset that hey, I was not at my proper weight class. Now I am, and it's a chance to prove it now against a guy in Kanat Islam who a medalist, undefeated, relatively untested in his career. I know Kelly's going in as the underdog, but it's a chance for him to really change the course of his career, because you beat Kanat Islam, all of a sudden you're in the WBO rankings and you're looking at getting a potential big fight next, or a notable fight in the rankings, in the WBO. So it's a big chance for him to really make something happen in his career. He did say, Jimmy Kelly, that he's looking at potentially fighting. He want to fight Chris Eubank Jr., and he's actually one of the only guys that I've heard say wants to fight Demetrius Andrade. Now, I'm not co-signing Demetrius Andrade versus Jimmy Kelly, but he did say it, and for the sake of this video, I'm just letting you guys know what he's about, what he said, and what a win for him could potentially lead to, because he'll be in the WBO rankings. So just please make note of that. Now, that fight's a good fight, solid fight. But the fight that I'm really, really excited for, and I'm so excited for this fight, I've already talked about this fight, but I went ahead and I dug into the tape a little bit more, and I have a little bit more insight and a little bit more things to say about this fight. Now, the main event comes in the form of, the Bronx, New York's very own, but South Florida's adopted very own, Beta Bay Boxing's very own, Pistol Pete Dobson, one of the best kept secrets in the welterweight division. He's taking on a guy that a lot of people in boxing circles feel like maybe he's a bit of a secret in his own weight class, and that's Jose Miguel Borrego. Now, I think this fight is a very good fight, you know, and going back and really digging into the tape of Borrego, he's better than I remembered him. Because a lot of people have been asking me about this fight, and I've been telling them just what I knew off the top of my head, like, hey, he's durable, he's never been stopped before, he's a tough Mexican. You know, the blanket statement you can make for a lot of Mexican fighters. But, you know, going back and watching Borrego, he's got a decent jab, he's got a little bit of craft to him. It's comfortable boxing out of both stances. You know, he's not the conventional type of switch hitter, but he does switch. He has different ways he can land different punches. But he's a guy that, make no mistakes about it, come hell or high water, Borrego likes to operate in that pocket. So I think that makes the fight interesting because Pistol Pete's a guy that loves to operate in the pocket himself. You know, he's the kind of fighter, Pistol Pete, where he can make adjustments. I think Pete Dobson is a kind of fighter that he's got a good understanding of range and knowing his range and knowing when to close the gap and just things like that. The subtle skills that people don't talk about, he has those things. He's very good at blocking and slipping and parrying and creating those little inches on the inside to land those body shots to fuck you up. So it's a really good fight because of what the fighter's strengths are. You know, I went back and I rewatched Pistol Pete's fight against Jeremy Nichols, which was back in 2017, where he fought for the WBC USMBC title. And that was a fight where, you know, Pete looked very strong. Pete was sharp. Pete was doing the things I talk about, like closing the gap and had a good understanding of his range. But, you know, I gotta be honest, you know, Pete's a friend of the channel. I like Pete, but I think Pete showed a bit of lack of stamina towards the end of the rounds. You know, he still was winning a lot of the rounds, but, you know, he showed to me a lack of conditioning at the time. Now, mind you, that was 5 years ago. He's a different person, he's a different man, but it is something to look at in this fight because Borrego's a guy that seems to have a gas tank for all the rounds. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Pete handles the pressure style of Borrego. I'm also looking forward to seeing how Borrego, because he likes to be in that pocket, I'm looking forward to seeing how he handles Pistol Pete, you know, landing them big shots on the inside, because he will land some big shots when they do get at mid-range, when they do mix it up. And listen, you know, I'm gonna call a spade because that's what I'm doing, you know. I think Pete Dobson's going into this fight as the B side, not because he's the lesser of the two fighters, but because I think Probox Promotions has Borrego signed. You know, if you look at how they've been writing the press releases on Probox Promotions, they wrote up saying like Jose Miguel Borrego, Mexican warrior, Jose Miguel Borrego taking on rising contender Pete Dobson. And I get the impression that he's going in on this promotion as the B side. So I really think it's one of these fights where if you're Pete, you can't leave the fight close. You have to win, not just win, but win convincingly. And you know, Pete has gone through this in his career before. People don't talk about it because most people don't follow boxing that closely. But you know, some years ago on the Pacquiao Thurman undercard, Pete fought against a prospect by the name of Emmanuel Medina, who at the time was 19-0, and he was the B side in that fight. And you know, do you guys know what happened in that fight? He beat the living shit out of Emmanuel Medina. So we're gonna see what Borrego, you know, if this is Emmanuel Medina 2.0. I think it could be. I think if Pete puts it together, this has a chance to be. But I'm not writing off Medina. I think Medina is someone that, or not Medina, Borrego. I think Borrego is someone that in his own right has some things that can trouble Pete in the back half of the fight. It's just about those first 4 to 5 rounds. Can he get through those without getting punished? You know.
You also said that.
You got any thoughts, Pops?
Yeah, you were saying also that Borrego, he switches from the southpaw and orthodox stance.
Yeah.
But one thing that you told me earlier was that Pete's good at a distance.
Pete understands his range. You know, he knows when he's in range and he knows when he's out of range.
That's gonna be an advantage for him.
Yeah. And the winner of this fight, like, look, I think the winner of this fight is looking at getting a big fight on Showbox probably next, stepping up to that Showbox level. You know, Pete's already beaten one undefeated fighter that meant something. So, like, if he beats Borrego and he can beat him in impressive fashion, I think Pete will get a call to fight someone we know, whether it be a Blair Cobb, whether it be a Virgil Ortiz, someone like that, you know, someone of a name. But he's got to get the Borrego, and that's no gimme. Borrego's going to go in there, and he's going to be a very, very big handful for Pete. But if Pete goes in there and knocks him out, mind you, this is the same Borrego. He's been in there with guys like Juan Heraldez, and he's been in there with some names. Has 3 losses on his record, never been stopped. So if he stops Pete, that's a big feather in Pete's cap. And if Borrego takes Pistol Pete Dobson's, oh my God, that's a great win for his career. I think that'll be the signature win for his career. So it's a great match fight. I'm looking very forward to it. I'm not gonna sit here and kid anybody. I like Pete. He's a friend of the channel. I think highly of him. I think he's someone that has a chance to really be a factor in the welterweight division. But I'm being realistic. I know what he's up against. I know that you know.
And he's been through it once with Medina, so it's not like he has probably different fighters between him and Borrego. But he's been through it before when they question what he's all about. And now it's his time to shine again. And shout out to him.
I could be wrong. I'm gonna end the video on this note, but I could be wrong. But I know Pete's first step up when he fought for the WBC USMBC title was against Jeremy J. Flash Nichols, who was a southpaw. I think Emmanuel Medina was a southpaw. So 2 of Pete's best performances have been against southpaws. Borrego is a switch hitter, but he can fight southpaw. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Pete has success early against Borrego. Does Borrego become the orthodox? Does Borrego believe in himself as a southpaw to stay there? Because we've seen in the past Pete have success as a southpaw. But I'll say this. I think this fight comes down to, for both fighters, conditioning. What's the condition for Pete? How does he handle being in the back half of the fight if it gets that far? And if Borrego gets the back half of the fight and has success, can he capitalize it and show the expert quality to beat a fighter like Pistol Pete Dobson? So it's a hell of a fight. I'm very excited for it. I'll be there. There'll be a lot of content. I'll be covering this. Hopefully tomorrow at the weigh-in, we can get interviews with both fighters and get you guys that exclusive content. But yeah, True School Sports putting in that overtime. So yeah, you guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button and surely you will not be disappointed. You know, True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, you know, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia, and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God bless.